America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to excuse me.
Wow, we would have never believed it. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too. Relevant rants, because we are relevant today, Mike. Hope you had a great Independence Day.
Independence Day.
4th of July, Independence Day.
It was
Celebrating.
an odd week though, because it's like being on Tuesday. It was like it's like we got 3 Fridays this week.
Yeah. So hope you had a great day, but you didn't eat any Ben and Jerry's ice cream. Those rascals.
Oh man.
Yeah. It's so
nothing but putting their foot in their mouth.
It's funny that they wanted us to give back Mount Rushmore to the Indians. But
maybe they should get back their land.
Yeah, maybe they should get back their processing plant that's on Indian land. Then you got to go farther back than that, right, Mike?
Yeah.
Maybe this building should be given back to somebody.
Wasn't the entire country?
I guess. I don't know. So
how far back do we want to go?
These reparations are getting more ridiculous all the time.
Well, Newsom decided not to go that route because he couldn't afford the bill. They've been driving out anybody of any means for a long time. Now they're working on driving out people that have no means.
Hey, if you can, check out Hannity and Newsom interview on Fox. But we got a president that can't even tell us. Remember last week, Mike, we talked about Biden, who challenged anybody who could explain what being an American is, because he can't, apparently.
Well, apparently now he has a word for it.
I'm waiting to hear that word.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was in the foothills of the Himalayas with Xi Jinping.
Foothills of the Himalayas? What does that have to do with America?
Well, like you said, Mike, part of China.
Yeah,
so.
he's like, well, it is part of China. China owns America, right? Well, China owns Biden at least.
Well, he owns the Biden family.
He does, right?
Oh,
the Biden crime family.
Gosh, is this getting worse or what?
Well, they found some Hunter stash in the White House the other day.
I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can't.
You ever seen that movie Scarface?
You can't
say hello to my little friend.
It came out as unidentified white substance.
I think Hunter knew exactly what it was.
He probably went, "Oh, crap!"
Right? Joe was like, "What is this?" Hunter's like, "That's mine. Leave it alone."
Yeah, don't. But I think as you get upset with Hunter, I mean, Joe tried. I mean, apparently
he did.
On
what planet?
Well, apparently he passed some laws back when he was thinking a little clearer.
You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can take everything you own. Everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely
that includes
what they
Burisma.
confiscate in
Burisma
terms
money?
of the
Yes.
dollars from the
Does that include for the big guy?
that you've just got caught engaging in.
It said anything connected.
I don't care why they become a sociopath. We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail.
I want to hold Biden.
Unless they're Biden, last name Biden.
Your husband.
There again.
Maybe you got to be high to understand him.
I mean, as Joe really struggles to reconcile what he's saying today versus what he said years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's maybe that's the consequence of no term limits.
Put your foot in your mouth too many times.
Gosh, he's been in there probably 4 decades.
Has he ever had a real job?
I don't think so. I think that's why he struggles with the economy. He doesn't know.
He doesn't know how money works.
He doesn't know economics because he just gets a check, probably
Right.
direct deposited into his account, like his Burisma proceeds
from the Bank of China.
I don't know. It just
does it route there first, or does it just kind of go through there and then?
It's just a bewilderment, with understanding that there's 2 sets of laws in America. If you're a hunter, and I know the judge is going to have a lot of pressure not to accept the sweetheart deal that Hunter got. I mean, it's going to be huge this week. I mean, just wait and see. I mean, it's so interesting now that you and I don't have to even kickstart or prime the pump on a conversation.
Well, my question is, how do you even trust the institutions at this point? Because I mean, it's pretty well known by even the leftists how weaponized all of the alphabet soup organizations, DOJ, FBI, CIA, all of them are,
IRS,
right? And
IRS.
Especially the IRS, right? And how they've been weaponized against political opponents. Like, how does anybody trust anything? And when it's pretty out there, like how corrupt the elections are, like what do you do?
Well, this week, and if you haven't watched Sean Hannity's interview with, the next
Newsom?
the next Democratic 2024 candidate. I don't see how they can run Biden. I mean, honestly.
You mean Newsom?
No, Biden.
So either one, I guess.
So Newsom, I think, has got to be the next one in the hopper. It can't be Kamala.
How can anybody else in the country be looking at what's going on with California? It's basically a giant freaking dumpster fire, and be like, "Well, we want some more of that for the rest of the country."
Well,
what kind of drugs they have to be getting from Hunter to be able to vote for that?
It's interesting that Newsom slipped out into Idaho this week because he went to Boise, and it's funny if you see the picture, and we can get it up on the screen, but it looks like a backyard party.
Oh, yeah?
It was labeled Newsom addressing Democrats in Idaho, which I imagine there's probably a couple neighbors in a block,
right,
that are doing that. But he's in a backyard, looks like, addressing them. But there are people out there that are crazy enough to think that this man has done a good job in California. Hey, we live in California.
But I think, honestly, I think it's more than that, right? Because are there some people that are crazy enough to think that? Yes. I think the bigger majority of the people that would potentially vote for him are just ignorant, uninformed, potentially stupid.
Well, they like the free money.
They do, but they don't understand what the hell is even going on. They don't understand anything about economics. What did Rush Limbaugh used to call them? The low information voters.
Well, it's there again. If you haven't seen the Hannity Newsom interview, it's good to watch. I think Newsom holds his ground for like 10 minutes, and then I saw something change because he just talking points is all he has, and then Sean Hannity let him use the talking points up, but then started hitting him with some gaffes from Newsom and asked him. He says, if you were to give me your phone, which you won't, and I looked at your text, how many of your friends and family are asking you to run for president? Because they got to see. Then he showed the gaffes. He says, that's the guy that you're going to run. And of course, Newsom held the party line and says, well, I trust him.
Well, you know what's crazy is I
don't get that.
I mean, you talk about California, right, for a second, and you look at. I was looking this up the other day, and I just thought it was interesting. We sold our house back in 2020, which I think my parents originally bought for like $30,000, right? We sold it for $300,000, but now the neighbors sold their house about 6 months ago for $380,000. And now these are houses that legitimately they're probably worth $200,000, and they're going for $400,000. And that's just the crazy inflation economy in California. And like now we're having to move, and we're looking like, okay, well, where do we go? And there's nothing reasonable that's like less than $2,500 a month
in California.
Anywhere you want to live, right?
Yeah. Well,
and we want that for the rest of the country. We're gonna vote Newsom for the to become the king of the United States, and he the way he treated California as if we were his subjects and just do whatever we want during the pandemic. What do you think he's gonna do when he takes over the country? You think he's gonna go softer? You think he's gonna go lighter? You think he's gonna be more enlightened?
He's doubling down.
No, he's gonna be a freaking disaster, and as if Joe Biden wasn't enough of a disaster these past however many years since 2020. Newsom would be worse because Joe Biden, at least he doesn't know what the hell's going on. Newsom would, and he'd be doing it intentionally and on purpose.
Mike, isn't it interesting that as wouldn't you love to see anybody? I'd love to see Trump debate Biden or DeSantis debate Biden, but they're not going to let him do that. But I do believe Newsom would debate them, and I would like to see that too.
He'd be able to at least carry a conversation.
Well, what he does is he's just got talking points right now.
Right.
It's funny and it's interesting in the Hannity half hour that they've released. Hannity talks about all the top companies that have moved out. And he scrolled, oh my gosh, I was just impressed the number of companies that have left California and they have moved to other red states where their taxes are cheaper. That when you pin somebody down, you can't argue about that. I love that in it. Hannity says, why is it more expensive to drive a U-Haul truck from California to some other state like Tennessee
and it's like
or Texas? But
not
it's
just
cheaper
more
to
expensive,
drive
it's
it
twice
back.
it's like twice as much, Tom.
I'll bet you at one point they're going to start paying people just to deliver them back to California. And then not
I'm sure they already are.
And not tell them, probably pay employees. Why wouldn't you pay? You got some people coming across the border. Why can't you pay them to drive them back?
Right. Well, we just want to give them free money.
I'm being facetious. But that's what you have to be if you're out there and you're thinking about Newsom or Biden. You got to be facetious. You got to be able to say, hey guys, think about what I love nowadays is that we just don't have to even be right or left. It's good and evil.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where the fight is nowadays. I was talking to somebody about it today, that it's not even right or left, Democrat or Republican. It's good and evil. It just is.
But the truth is there's evil on both sides.
Yes, it is. But I'm just saying, and honestly, this is it. I mean, this is politics. Sometimes good people are going to ride in on the black horse.
Yeah.
They just are. And hey, I'm not coming up with a system, but it's a challenge. Then the next challenge is, do we have a pandemic coming for the election cycle?
I mean, they've already been talking about it, kind of laying the ground. But my question is,
they deliver the message before the deed.
But what I'm wondering is how many people are going to say, "Oh, you did that to me the first time. Yeah, let me do it again." Like, do you think that there's enough percentage of the population that's like, "Hey, you screwed me the first time. Let me have a double portion of that"? Or do you think people are going to stand up and say, "You know what? You can shove that because I'm not doing it again"?
Yeah.
How many people do we know that died, suicide?
Yes, I did
Drug overdoses, are in rehab and everything else because of the pressure and the stress of that whole situation.
And the vaccine's just gone away.
Yeah, you think people are going to stand for that again?
I don't know. So I love it when we don't even have to point out a point that Biden is said he was for and now against. We got a clip of Bernie Sanders.
Let me ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
You're right here with me.
Yeah.
Have you been on the floor of the Senate? You were in the Senate for a few years.
Yeah.
Time and time again, talking about the necessity, with pride, about cutting Social Security, cutting Medicare, cutting veterans programs.
No.
You never said that.
No.
When I argued that we should freeze federal spending, I meant Social Security as well. I meant Medicare and Medicaid. I meant veterans benefits. I meant every single solitary thing.
I'm not a Bernie guy, but Bernie vetted that clip.
Right.
I mean, when you have a socialist coming after Biden and Biden lies about what he said and Bernie's got it on tape, I mean, how do you trust these guys, Michael? It's like you said.
You can't.
You can't. I mean, there's just no possible way. Like you said, when people are getting tired of stuff, it just, we got a thing up here that says voters are getting weary of the pride campaigns. Now, we're talking not pride in the country, 4th of July. We're talking the gay pride.
You mean the shame?
Yeah, it's just weird. If you can't open up your social media without seeing some 40-year-old guy twerking,
Yeah, or 50 or 60 or
Yeah,
whatever,
and-
right?
and voters are getting tired of it.
And they're putting it in front of the kids?
Yeah.
People
Kids are on
people are
social
sick of
media
that
more
crap.
than anybody else.
Right.
But I think those are the targets.
They are.
So when you have Bernie Sanders coming after Joe Biden for poor performance, and then all he wants to do is say, I didn't say that. And no consequence.
He doesn't remember saying it, so
Did that
give him some
count,
credit.
though?
No, I don't think so.
My wife calls me on it all the time now because she feels I'm losing my cognitive thinking, and I'm not sure she's not correct because I'm 66. I'm a few years younger than Joe.
Yeah.
But my wife's like, I'm worried about you, and I go, you probably should be. But I'm not the president of the United States. I don't have the nuclear bomb. That's just something I don't have. So
Yeah.
yeah. You as we're coming up into we're in the election cycle.
Yeah, we have been.
Yeah. And so we got Newsom, then we got Biden, and of course Biden's in, Newsom's out, but Newsom's in. Let's go figure that one out.
Hey, I mean, so Mike, if he runs for president, is he going to have to walk away from the governorship?
Well, California.
I don't know if that makes it get any better, because I'm sure there's a whole list of candidates that all suck lined up to take over that job. But
well, Florida, their legislation passed it where their governor could run for president as he's a sitting governor. Yeah. So maybe.
Well, and Newsom being the governor, and he just feels like he can unilaterally make decisions. He'll probably just do that anyway.
Because he does, because basically we're a Democratic-run state.
A single party system.
That's it.
Yeah.
California, yay! So hey, as we go on through, we have a couple good things. There's good news in the our program today, because Mike and I love working out, and there's something nowadays called myokines. Myokines. I was getting ready to go there. You just caught me earlier in a second. And these myokines come into effect, from what I'm understanding, when the muscles contract.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying not only do we have the endorphins that are out there that we get when we work out, that when you contract muscles, these myokines are receptive, and they produce kind of a hope molecules.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool that when they get down to that? I mean, I've always told people that amino acids, are some of the building blocks, and as they start to keep isolating these things, you're going to keep unlocking things. And so,
well, I mean, it stands to reason to make sense, right? Like, hey, the more you work out, the better mood you're in, the better everything else you're in. And I mean, but besides the physiological changes, right, that lead to more confidence, everything else, and the endorphins and other things, the researchers found this myokines helps increase your just outlook on the future.
yes,
It fights depression and other things.
And so it's amazing how God built in, because we are part of that group that believes there's a design, and that means there's a designer behind the human body, that he put in a lot of things that might be being neglected. And it's really encouraging to me, and I think, Mike, you too, and we talk about on Muscle Matters, that as you get older and you see the benefits of working out, even as you're younger, these are the things that you need to put into your life. We're just talking to our producer on set, Alex, and he's going to have to get up earlier than his new son to go out and work out, because you find out that it helps you get through your day, get through your life, and with older. So hey, catch Muscle Matters. There again, you
guys talked about this just the other day.
Yeah, 511 Media Group is based on 1 Thessalonians 5:11.
Yeah, encourage one another.
Yes, and so we're encouraging you to go out there and do that. So I like that. And our USA Today, which they aren't usually a faith-based
or conservative
or but they're saying living on a prayer, how attending worship can improve your physical and mental health.
Yeah,
Mike, you and I.
It does too.
It does.
I know it does.
Mike, you and I how many times have we sat in service not in a motivated mood?
Many.
And before the service is over, we become spiritually engaged either through worship or the word or prayer. And then you and I can leave the building in a much better state than we entered.
Well, I know, just driving in my car, if I'm like discouraged or whatever, and I put on the worship and like really set out to seek God in that, like it changes my attitude and changes my mental state. And
yes. Mike, you and I are investing our futures in hearing God's voice.
Yeah.
And being inclined to what His Spirit's doing in our life.
That's right.
And I think people out there too. And so now you've got a USA Today paper, digital, just talking about that. It says faith and spirituality and a sense of purpose all have a beneficial effect on one's emotional, physical, and mental health. That sense of purpose means you're here for a bigger reason.
Yeah.
And I think when people find that, a lot of people will talk to me a lot of times about passion. They got to get passionate about something. I go, you can't just get passionate about anything. You got to have purpose. How many times do we talk to people on lunch break where they've Randy Martin, he has a purpose of helping what I call them transitional foster kids
Yeah.
who have transitioned out of the system. He is passionate about it because that's his purpose.
That's right.
So when you find a purpose, then you have that passion, because purpose will fuel passion. And if you're out there and you're looking for that, you can find that in faith, in spirituality, because God has a purpose for us. We see this in the Bible. It's called being conformed in the image of Christ. And Jesus says, what you see me do, you can do too. There's not a more exciting life than this. And you have USA Today picking up on it, that it helped your physical and mental health. And I know that you get up in this world, I mean, you can't turn to social media out the bat. If you do, you'll be depressed.
Right.
And I fight it. I do. Every morning, if you're out there and you're scrolling and you're just getting the feeds, you're going to be depressed seconds into it. But if you start your day with an app that has a daily reading, I do something that's called Morning Pump every day. You could guys jump in on that. I've done it for, gosh, Mike, it's almost a year and a half now, almost 2 years though.
Yeah.
I started doing it on our trip to Vegas. That's been 2 years ago, hasn't it?
You started before that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So every day I keep putting out these little faith nuggets that incorporate working out and just mental state and that kind of thing. So if you're out there, realize that there is a purpose, and it's getting involved in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
One of the things you and I, Mike, do is we work with what's called Shielding the Frontline Kern County. It's investing our life in the mental health of first responders. That's another purpose that's generated out of our faith.
Or like what Scott's doing with
fentanyl use. Yeah, we just had a Scott Winkler on. He's a local defense attorney. He lost his son to a fentanyl overdose this year, and which that's drawn him closer to groups. And actually, they've just applied for a nonprofit, and he's talked about getting some money for fentanyl awareness. You can't open up any social media news article and not see that fentanyl is a problem.
It's a massive problem.
Absolutely. I mean, if it's hit our president's home with
right?
crack,
Yeah.
I mean, there's fentanyl that's coming across the borders, and the cartel are involved. I mean,
And it's wide open.
there's a specific cartel that's targeting kids and making it look like Skittles. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
We talked about that on our show Lunch Break with Scott, how my wife's the superintendent of school district. She has Narcan now in an elementary school because they're worried about that. And it's even possible not to be an intentional thing where they're just, coming in contact with it.
Right. Yeah. You remember the story about the woman who picked up the dollar bill and it was covered with fentanyl.
Yeah.
She didn't know about it.
So there again, I mean, we've got a president that doesn't know what
a border is.
Yep. Well, he doesn't know the word to define Americans, so he obviously doesn't understand the borders and the fact that when no one's there keeping the border safe, that means that illicit stuff's coming over, and you just open it up every day. So, hey, thank you USA Today to pointing out that there is a value in spirituality and living on prayer and worship. So,
Yep, that's right.
I like it, Mike.
Yeah. Well, thanks guys for watching. Have a great day. God bless.